Death's Door. Welcome to Acid Nerve's Poe-inspired version of Death, a black and white drudgery of a workplace white sheet blanketed in bureaucratic process for the ever after, where you, a crow and not a raven, are tasked with reaping souls for the Reaping Commission, a collection agency with a desk jockey shelf life you'd rather not think about. On this particular workaday clock-in, your targeted soul is stolen before you can reap the rewards of your deathly labour, an act seemingly uncommon in your line of work, and certainly a risk unmitigated for that very reason. Your only option lest you face an eternity of paperwork then? Why, to track down your stolen wares yourself, of course. But this opens your black and white eyes to numerous worlds beyond the deathly hallows you know, where it turns out things that should be dead aren't. And so an unexpected journey into places filled with colours unknown begins, and an intriguing adventure with our little crow takes flight. Except you won't take flight, as our little crow, whom we'll come to know as Bigface later, instead walks, runs and rolls about the meticulously crafted game world, swinging their sword and firing off their arrows in what is largely a Zelda-inspired action-adventure title you could thoroughly have been forgiven for thinking is actually a roguelike or light. Thankfully, however, it isn't, and harkens back to a more tried and tested genre in the aforementioned Nintendo favourite. And I say thankfully, because while that genre is full of fantastic entrants, from the outset Death's Door, absolutely a game of character progression, feels like something less grindy and random, and more permanent, artfully designed worlds that belie the need for modular levels and random monster placements. There's also no permadeath loop here given the contextual nature of the narrative, so Death's Door simply steers clear of the rogues gallery, on title alone. Moving on, what grabs you with Death's Door right away is the game's pacing stacked against its pick up and play nature. There's a challenging combat component here that tends to raise the bar with more and more mobs and variant enemy attacks in swarm or horde encounters, but as soon as you lay your mitts on the controller, or across the keyboard if that's your jam, you'll pretty much know how to play the game. Roll/evade and power attacks have a slight recovery period that will definitely catch you out in those swarm sequences, and you'll need to charge arrows to release them, which is another small window for the baddies. But on the whole, especially in the early game, I found combat fairly easy to grasp. Though in saying that, this was preview code I played ahead of review code proper, which could mean adjustments and challenge are waiting in the wings. I mentioned earlier that there's a character progression setup here, and in keeping with the Zelda analogy, the game doesn't go overly deep on this. It's also sidled up nicely alongside the game's practical use items and item management. Your inventory, which includes economy collectibles such as crystal shards, magic crystal shards and giant souls, isn't remotely intimidating. And you've also got your requisite weapons tab which features swords and other items, like the maybe not so strange given the overall tone of Death's Door, umbrella, with more offensive based items to be discovered and equipped as you progress. And what crow could live without shiny things, collectible items you'll find in your travels? They're not as random as the sub-menu title suggests, but it's all very cute nonetheless. Getting back to gameplay, in escaping the permadeath death loop, Death's Door presents an escape door in all areas that will take you back to the Hall of Doors and the Reaper Commission, the Hall of Doors being access points to previously visited worlds, where you can talk with Darwin the Vault Keeper, who helps you spend your hard-earned souls on upgrades to your combat abilities. These include strength, pretty self-explanatory, dexterity or precision attacks, haste, which is your movement speed, and lastly, your magic, which is your effectiveness with certain magics, but mostly with your ranged abilities. All of this is more than enough to get you going on your journey, and at the close of preview play, I'd invested roughly 4 hours at less than 10% completion, which should give you an idea of the adventure that awaits, one with a black humid narrative full of interesting characters and quests built subtly around the absurd. As you've no doubt noticed throughout, Death's Door is stunning and wonderfully presented, despite its dark tone, which is a massive boon. But as mentioned, this was all from a preview session with the game, so more content awaits. Either way though, mark Bigface's adventure on your calendar. It'll definitely brighten up any dreary days you foresee ahead.